Hi everyone! This week I'm coming at you with another episode of an excerpt from my memoir. Today's episode I'm going to be talking about how we change to become a better person from traveling. I'm going to be comparing how instead of trying to find ourselves, we should instead be focusing on finding out about others. In this episode, I take you to India. While I was in India, I was living with some locals there and working at a school. And so I spent a lot of my time with both my friends, who were my coworkers, and also their families and their friends. Most of the time, I felt like this strange adopted Canadian relative, which was pretty funny and fun almost always. While I was in India, I was constantly amazed at how so many things felt really foreign and strange to me, but at the same time, I became used to them very easily. My friends would always joke at how I tolerated super spicy food, and I actually like it, and how well I tolerated the heat. My housemates would have only a thin sheet to sleep on, and they'd have the fan full blast, and then there was me, literally in a blanket and no fan. I'm pretty sure the windows might have even been closed. That's how I slept because I just love the heat. I'm just gonna briefly talk about tea as an example of the things that I wasn't used to or that was strange. So when I first tried Indian tea, I had no idea that it was gonna be full of sugar and full of cream, because that's how it comes usually. When you order a tea, you don't say, oh, I'd like cream in my tea, or I'd like sugar. It just comes like that. So at first I was like, oh my God, because it's not what you expected. But then after a while, I'm like, oh, like tea time could be dessert time. It's kind of nice in a way, if you can adapt yourself to thinking of it in that sense instead. Now, there was one thing that I really couldn't wrap my head around, and now we are coming into the part from my book that I wanted to share with you today. On the opposite side of the globe, expect whatever is normal for you to be turned inside out. Even the way people did daily tasks like sweeping or washing dishes was a chance for me to watch and think about how we live our lives differently in smaller and simpler ways. Sweeping is a fantastic example, actually. If you didn't know this, in India and in most of Asia, people often use short brooms that have a short handle attached directly to the bristles. To reach the floor, to sweep up a mess, one needs to hunch over since the broom is so short. And don't try to think about this logically, that maybe these short brooms are for shorter people. That's not the case at all. These brooms are so short that even the smallest little lady needs to hunch over in order to get her sweeping done. Appearing obviously painful to me, I asked my coworker why wouldn't we just use broomsticks with longer handles so that everyone wouldn't have to hunch over like they have scoliosis. His response wasn't really helpful for me. He said, no, they like it this way, and was shocked that I would even suggest the change. To this day, I still don't understand the short broom thing. I secretly want to find a way to bring those long-handled brooms over to our old cleaning lady to see if she was willing to give her back a break. Or maybe what he was saying was the truth, and that she would really just prefer the shorter ones. A lot of the time we hear people talking about finding yourself and discovering how we fit in within the world. And though this is very much part of our personal growth, I don't think it is a good reason to travel as some people talk about it. Traveling solo is such a great way to find yourself. I've been told by countless people back home and abroad. To me, this is such a strange thing to say. To find myself, I should fly to the other side of the world. Literally speaking, wherever I go, I find myself there. Whether I'm contemplating my mother's grocery list of no frills, wondering, what does she mean by green sauce? Or if I'm in a crowded temple, trying to decipher if the sweat on my skin belongs to me or the lady squeezed up next to me. Wherever I go, I am there. And if I need to find myself, all I need to do is look down at my feet and see where they're taking me. But figuratively, which obviously is what people mean, finding yourself does not require any specific environment or situation. Our ability to see clarity in ourselves and understanding what makes us who we are is less dependent on our outer environment and more so impacted by our mindset. You have the ability to find yourself in any place on the planet. Your mind is the only thing stopping you. Bringing yourself to that beach in Bali likely won't prepare your brain for any big epiphanies. And chances are that taking that Instagram picture perfect, hashtagging wanderlust, it's not going to help either. I think there is a much more obvious and important thing that we gain from traveling that some people forget. Traveling is an incredible opportunity to not find yourself, but to find out about others. In what ways are we similar? In what ways are we different? We might encounter a number of foreign behaviors and things that don't make sense to us, but sometimes we encounter new things that we are compelled to take in and make a part of our own lives as some kind of improvement. The saying, "you don't know you like something unless you try it," is very fitting in this context. In traveling, you encounter so many new ways of doing things. There's no better chance to learn and try them when you are abroad. In traveling, you have the opportunity to learn about different ways of life from different people. The sweeping, I've tried, and I definitely don't like it. But there are some things that I have incorporated into my life thanks to my experiences abroad and absorbing these other ways of life. I remember one morning I made breakfast for my 2 co-workers that were living with me. Cinnamon raisin oatmeal with a little bit of brown sugar. When I gave it to my one coworker, he said he was disgusted by the lack of flavor and proceeded to make his own version, which included masala spice and green chili. My response was an equally shocked looking face, realizing that he was about to eat this savory, spicy oatmeal. To be honest, the spicy oatmeal isn't bad. However, I would still prefer the sweeter version. Later on, while I was grocery shopping, I noticed that they actually sell pre-packaged masala oatmeal packs as an alternative healthy breakfast. I realized that a lot of what is normal for me is completely strange for my Indian friends and vice versa. I learned many things about life while in India. It was an opportunity for endless thinking, considering arranged marriages, masala oatmeal, eating food with your hands, and bathing with a bucket of water instead of a shower. Finding out about others and simply listening is a special opportunity we have while abroad. Listening is a really important skill to master, and to do so without judgment or prejudice is even more useful. Learning how to listen while putting aside whatever definitions of normal you possess is the best way to make the most of what you are hearing and seeing. When we are in a foreign place, this is our duty because we are the outlier. We are in fact abnormal, and we should keep this in mind as we are immersed in these new surroundings. We should listen and absorb as much as we can and see things not as abnormal, wrong, or strange, but simply different. In listening and learning and trying all these new things, we develop tolerance and acceptance for them. We help ourselves become more compassionate towards people and their differences. We shouldn't focus on finding ourselves when we go traveling. We should instead focus on finding out about them. In doing so, we grow into more accepting and open versions of ourselves, which benefits not only us, but everyone else around us too. If we can find more reasons for someone's behaviors or characteristics, we'll become more compassionate towards them. To look at something different with admiration or respect rather than confusion or disgust. This is what we can gain from travel. Finding yourself is something you have endless opportunities to do, regardless of where you are. But finding out about others and practicing how to properly listen without judgment, this is a special opportunity that travel presents us with. So I think this excerpt pretty much speaks for itself. I'm not going to dive into too much else, but essentially the take-home message is that when we put ourselves into a foreign place and everything is very different for us, being the outlier and being forced to feel like the abnormal person is really powerful, and being able to absorb these new ways of life, that is the real gift here, because like I said, you can bring yourself to any place in the world. There's no guarantee that, you'll find yourself. Maybe you will, which is all good and dandy, but I think the more beneficial thing we can gain is being more accepting and compassionate towards everyone else. We should try to alter our thinking to be less selfish and realize that the world doesn't revolve around everything that we already know and that we're used to. We can only hope to learn and experience everything that this planet has available for us in a single lifetime. Any opportunity that you get, be grateful for it and take it in. That is all I'll talk about today. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked what I'm talking about, please subscribe to my channel, like this video. I will be coming out with future excerpts. The next few videos will be about some other travel thoughts, not to do with my memoir specifically. And I also have some more information about travel vaccines coming out that are not COVID. So stick around if you're looking for some helpful travel tips and information. And I hope you all have an amazing week. See you next time.